Japan still lives on. So it's very nostalgic. It's what Japanese travelers seek out as respite, and also what we're finding a lot more and more with a lot of appeal from U.S. and travelers really from around the world, but definitely from travelers, hailing from North America that want a little bit of a more authentic feeling in Japan. This is definitely a wonderful option. So where is it? How can you get there? Toyama is perfectly placed between Tokyo and Kyoto and Osaka. So it's between those major cities, which are generally always going to be in at least a first-timer's visit to Japan. So it's just a direct 2-hour bullet train ride away. And it really offers the feeling of the undiscovered Japan. So you've got nature, cuisine, history, and tradition, but without the crowds. So here are the 4 pillars of Toyama when it comes to tourism. It's about immersive alpine landscapes, natural landscapes, and the coastal nature, which is just stunning. And we're going to dive into that. Living traditional crafts infused with modern sensibility. So you see old world artwork and more contemporary. Exceptional seafood and sake, and this earns Toyama the title of Japan's kitchen. And exclusive cultural experiences in a very uncrowded setting. And that, for anybody traveling around the world today, lack of crowds is a very appealing selling point. So just a little bit about the access to, as we just spoke about, there are multiple ways to reach. Japan is very famous for its bullet trains, which get you from point to point quite quickly. So you see a map here of exactly where everything is, easy access if you're going to places like Kanazawa or Takayama. And again, just from the major cities, Tokyo and Osaka, Tokyo and Kyoto, quite quick bullet train journeys rather, that will keep you entertained, as well as making sure that you're not spending too much time on transport. So a little bit about Toyama Bay, really, and this is beautiful. This is a gorgeous photo, so you can see it's really one of the world's deepest bays. Meets the towering peaks, and it's framed by these beautiful Japanese alpine mountains, and lots of times the snow from the Alps on the top trickles down and then enriches the bay with its minerals. So this is what causes this premium seafood that grows and that breeds and lives, and also the land becomes very fertile due to this very unique water situation. So the mountain water really kind of lends itself to creating exceptional rice and produce. And Toyama Bay is also often called the natural aquarium of the Sea of Japan, and that nickname really captures why tourism here is so special. So the bay is unusually deep for its size, and this creates very unique marine ecosystems where more than 500 species thrive. You've got things like glowing firefly squid in the spring, and then giant red snow crabs and yellowtail in the winter. So this means world-class seafood experiences that change with the seasons. So beyond the gastronomy, of course, you've got breathtaking scenery from the shoreline to the mountains. You can, do cruises, for example, to spot different types of wildlife, find these fishes, in the water, and then you can visit very historic, charming towns where you get a very unforgettable sense of cultural heritage. So it's all about nature here as well. What's so beautiful about it? Well, almost every period is incredible. You have a rare elevation change here of about 13,000 feet from the mountains to the sea in only about 20 miles. So you've got this kind of unique biosphere here, and it really is just a beautiful, round the year destination. So in the winter, which is amazing, you've got these towering snow walls along the Alpine route, which are amazing. And you've probably seen a lot of photos of those. Those can get about 20 meters high. And then Toyama Bay in the winter delivers rich seafood experiences. So again, mention that snow crab to the yellowtail, and those are served at restaurants and also at bustling markets. And then you can do quite a lot of skiing and snowshoeing, soft powder snow across many ski resorts. In the autumn, you've got the vibrant foliage that really blankets the mountains and the temples with some of the most striking scenery that you can find in Japan along the Alpine route. The seafood changes a little bit. So you've got sweet shrimp, that's the season for that, and then a different type of yellowtail. And then the autumn is really great for hot spring villages because you've got cooler temperatures outside, which are great for the bathing in the mineral water, which is warm. In the summer, the Alpine route opens fully, and then you can, it's very lush with the meadows and the stunning mountain hiking trails and things like that. So it's beautiful. Crystal clear rivers, which are wonderful for kayaking and cycling, festivals, fireworks, things like that in the summer. And then in the spring, it's interesting. There's a phenomenon that happens there. This firefly squid, which I mentioned, they glow blue at night, and that happens in the spring, and you can see that. It's very, very rare natural spectacle, which is visible in the spring. And then, of course, you've got the cherry blossoms and then seasonal fresh mountain vegetables. So lots of different options that you can look at indulging in. So you see this photo here. I'll just go back. That was a little bit of an overview of what you can do, and just a little bit about Tateyama within the region. So this is one of Japan's snow capitals. So I've got these 65-foot, 20-meter high snow walls, which are amazing. And you can take these photos, which are sort of unequaled anywhere in the world. So at the heart of this is the Tateyama Korobe alpine route, this legendary mountain passage that you know, again, probably have seen in some phenomenal Instagram reels. This connects Toyama with Nagano, and it's really just famous for these you know, phenomenons. And then I mentioned, you know, what changes in the spring, summer, and fall. It's a little bit of a different cycle there. Another amazing opportunity here is to visit Gokayama, which is celebrating 30 years as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And here it's got these beautiful steep-roofed thatched houses. Many of them are over a century old. So in the winter, the village sort of transforms into this beautiful lantern-lit wonderland. It's exceptional in the snow. And then visitors here can explore cafes, museums, and even stay overnight in one of these homes. You know, and these homes have been designed specifically to withstand heavy snowfall, so that's why they're so impressive in the winter. Very little in the way of life here has changed over the centuries, so you really can, you know, just stroll through very quiet streets. If you want complete quiet, you know, definitely look at a homestay here, and then you can sort of take part in some hands-on activities here, like making soba noodles or doing some craft workshops. And then you've got Tonami, which is within Japan's what we call the timeless countryside. So this is Japan's largest dispersed settlement here, where farmhouses are beautifully framed by sheltering trees and you sort of reflected in flooded rice fields. And then you've got the Tateyama peaks in the background. So this is wonderful for photographers and people who are into agritourism. You can kind of delve into the rural heritage of Japan here. And then in the spring, you've got the four color symphony, so this quartet, so to speak. So each spring, the Funakawa Riverside bursts into what they call the four color symphony. So these are pink cherry blossoms, golden canola flowers, snow white mountains, and blue skies. So it lasts only a brief period of time where you can see all these distinct colors, but again, very, very beautiful for people that want to capture it in photographs or videos. Okay. And then you've got the beauty of just, you know, you can see, I mean, photographer's paradise. The beauty of the coast is that, you know, you have the striking mountains right behind you. Some of these areas, and, you know, especially along the bay, are some of Japan's most scenic and poetic. So when you're along the shoreline, there's almost always something pretty impressive to see. You know, the name of the coast and the bay really kind of, it stems from, you know, the concept of rain clearing comes from an ancient legend, actually. You know, and so those roots run deep, but today travelers come for these views. You know, you've got rocky inlets, which you see here, beautiful turquoise waters, everything is framed by the mountains. And you know, you see a lot of this area reflected in Japanese art, poetry, a lot of haikus relate to this area. And then you've also got, you know, just if you want to be on foot or on two wheels, excellent cycling trails, excellent hiking trails here as well. Another element that's really important, excuse me, of this region or its crafting and craftsmanship aspect. So you've got these living craft traditions. The Toyama's crafts here have really flourished for over 400 years under the Kaga clan. That was many, many centuries, you know, of blending, you know, things like pure water, rich natural resources, and you know, and trade you know, practices, you know, to create some of these exceptional these elements that are still very visible today. So when visitors come, they can explore everything from things like copperware and washi paper to contemporary glass art, and they're all crafted with master skill, modern sensibility, and these are things that have been passed down from generation to generation. So something like the copperware here, which is one of Japan's most celebrated metal crafts. This began 400 years ago, and you see these evidence of this copperware in temple bells to, you know, all the way up to modern decor. So these works are really admired worldwide for their precision, beauty, and artistry. And then you've got the process of metal casting at Takaoka. You can see this really up close, which is great. So you can be in a studio with an artisan, and you can even create your own works of art created from pewterware. You can shop for exclusive designs and then enjoy food and drink served in beautifully crafted vessels. Inami is Japan's top wood carving town. So Japan is very famous for these kinds of things. And if you visited temples and shrines, you'll see a lot of this carving, a lot of evidence there. It's about a 250-year history. And then workshops here are beautiful. They're very fragrant because you smell the wood and you hear the sound of the chisel. So it's a sensory experience. And you can also get up close in these studios and even try a hands-on option to test your skill at this remarkable craft. And then Toyama is also known as Japan's glass city. It's got a lot of names because there's a lot that's happening here. So Toyama offers both history and innovation in glass art. So you've got the Toyama Glass Studio, where you can watch artisans work and explore the gallery, try hands-on experiences. And then there's also the Toyama Glass Art Museum, which showcase world-class exhibits. So those would be anything from etchings to, glass-blown creations, sculptures, things like that. So it's very interesting. And that's more of the contemporary side. So gastronomy is huge here. It's a culinary powerhouse known the world over, not just in Japan, but around the world, just because of those different types of seafood and, of course, the rich produce that is grown. It's a true culinary paradise. You've got, what we call the natural fish tank in the bay, of course, the produce from fertile farmland, and exquisite local sake, which is brewed from, pure snow melt water. So that's another huge part of this area here. Got Toyama Bay sushi, which is seasonal local seafood integrated into a lot of menus of restaurants, small to large, exquisitely created by master chefs. So this is a must try. If people love sushi, you absolutely do need to come here. And then the somen noodles. So Toyama's very unique, pure spring water is exceptional for creating these certain types of noodles, which are very smooth, very refreshing in the summer, which are often so, kind of put together with local fish and local vegetables. So these are just very fresh, natural dishes, very, very beautiful to take a look at. And the Shimanado port is one of the few in Japan where you can do an afternoon fish auction. Lots of times these things happen very early in the morning, but here you can do it in the afternoon and kind of see the live day bidding where people are kind of hawking their same day catches at their freshest. Well, let's talk about the spirits because that's always another side of the culinary equation here. You've got the spirits here, like this historic whiskey distillery, which was founded in 1952. So this is the area's oldest whiskey distillery, producing award-winning spirits, and guests can tour here like the typical distillery, sample whiskeys, and explore its very historic architecture, which is a lot of fun. And then Toyama's sake breweries craft refined, elegant flavors from pristine snow melt water and locally grown rice, which is also, it kind of harvested, which also has to do with that water. So it does have a very interesting effect on things that are, grown from the land and also, beverages that are created. And this is really an ideal pairing with the seafood. So it's fun to go and really learn all about the different types of sake and what to pair with what, with which dish when, with the seafood. So this is a lot of fun. And then we wanted to connect the dots for you to kind of show you what a 3-day jaunt might look like, a sample, a 3-day luxury itinerary. So this would, you can see the map on the right here, and you can see where you can connect the dots and sort of see where Toyama is based. So the northwest of Tokyo, and very close to Kanazawa, which we're going to be talking about in just a moment. So what would you do? Let's talk about it. Day one, you would start in the historic port town of Higashiwani, which you would do, love to stay here for tasting sake. You would dine at Michelin-starred restaurants, taste some of that seafood. And here it's a great place to explore the woodworking aspect. So you would start here. You would, kind of settle in. It's sort of a blend. It's not too remote. It's sort of got a, slightly more, urban feel, but definitely without the crowds. But you've got, low-key experiences here, of course, opportunities to be up close with a lot of the craftsmen, and view some of these traditional and also sustainable practices. And as we mentioned, kind of these woodworking, it's not just these religious or animal, kind of carvings. It's modern geometric patterns and all sorts of things that you can try your hand with. And then some of the recommended hotels. This is always interesting for us to kind of let you know what is here. In the region, it's nice because there is a blend of brands that and then of course some more traditional, properties with a different, more authentic sense of place. So if people are, interested in a more Western opportunity, you've got the DoubleTree by Hilton here, which is a very convenient location, which is about a 3-minute walk from the Toyama station. The guest rooms are inspired by Toyama's natural scenery. So you do have, photo photos and paintings of the mountain range, but you've got basic, like the furnishings that you might expect from this type of brand. And then you've got, your standard amenities, and it's a little bit more, familiar with the creature comforts for a North American traveler. Average price starting at about $237 per night plus, including 2 meals. And then if you wanted to get a little bit more, deeper into the feel of the region, the River Retreat Karaku, which is in a serene location built, kind of with harmony with nature in mind. So each guest room is one of a kind, very, very different with its own theme, which is gorgeous. So you really feel very serene, extremely remote here, and it feels a little bit more authentic, I would say, more locally centric here. And the average price starts at about $339 US per night plus, including 2 meals. So on day 2, this is interesting. If you wanted to get out and explore the region, definitely recommend cycling through the Toyama landscapes with beautiful views. Here you can be on the ground visiting villages, stop at shrines, cafes, and beautiful artisan studios along the way. And this is a lot of fun. So at the Saburumaro Distillery, you can actually enjoy a private whiskey blending experience. This is a lot of fun. You can create your own signature bottle, even with your own private label to take home. So that's a lot of fun to do too. And then so it's day 2 is really about enjoying the outdoors. So here are some recommended hotels for day 2, because we do recommend you try more than one to sort of get a feel. And sometimes staying in these beautiful traditional houses, these ryokan style properties, really allows you to feel more, in more of the soul of Japan. Let's put it that way. So you have Nonoi here, which is a really tranquil property. It's got, surrounded by rice fields and beautiful woodlands. It's sort of a traditional Japanese house, and you can do this as a whole house rental if you want. It's wonderful for digital detox. It's sort of you can experience time here. You can experience the quietness of the surroundings without having, the distractions of TV and the news and things like that. And then you've got, just your peace and serenity. And you can opt to cook. You can opt to bring food in. It's really your home to take if you like. And it's about $679 US per night, as is. And then you've got other different types of houses that you can, also look at renting here for a homestay. So this is just as the previous property, similar type of setup. Great spacious, for digital detox, for feeling like you're living in a true Japanese home. And again, you would organize your meals separately, or your DMC partner can help you with that. And then you have Rakudo On, which is in the, a very rural area, but more of a hotel feel. So if you didn't want to take the whole property, on your own, you can, stay in a traditional, Toyama style farmhouse here, which is beautiful. It's a small inn, very, ryokan style. So you've got, interior materials that are, have sort of been designed with nature in mind, very light, airy, very, with a lot of clean lines. And you'll find a lot of folk crafts here, artistry, and also contemporary art celebrating the area. So this starts at about $543 per night, including 2 meals. Then you have Bedencraft, which is interesting, a little bit more modern. So you've got a sort of a villa style building, accommodation rather, with, different villas and buildings scattered throughout the town, which is really the heart of Inami's wood carving culture. So you've got a beautiful, creative, you've got stark colors, which you don't normally find in a traditional, more Japanese style property, ryokan. And here you can take part in apprenticeship experiences with local artisans. So that's a lot of fun. And this is an interesting property because it straddles between the old world, authentic Japanese, and something a little bit more modern and more Western. So average price here is about $611 per night plus, including 2 meals. And then on day 3, it's really all about discovering the Copperware and some of the more luxury crafts here. And you can create your own pewterware. You can tour the workshop, browse exclusive designs, combining history, craftsmanship, and again, these hands-on experiences are what people really love. And then you would top the day off, and this is really special, lunch at or dinner at Levo, which is a one-of-a-kind auberge nestled in a remote setting. And this is really, each dish is very, very creatively put together using locally sourced materials, seafood, plants, flowers, and produce. And it really attracts food lovers from around the world. So this is one of the top dining experiences you truly can have in the region, and we highly recommend it. So just a few points about contact. If you're interested, of course, we have many, many more opportunities. Beauty of Japan is the DMC that we work with in relation with this project for Toyama, for the Toyama DMO and tourism for Toyama to promote Toyama. We would love to connect you. You can connect with Beauty of Japan, or you can email us, and we'd be happy to make a personal intro for you, or with the prefecture and the DMO directly. We are happy to make those connections at any time. If you want to discuss visiting, if you need quotations, or if you wanted to create one of your perhaps on your own fam, and a great way to get on our list for opportunities to hear about future fams. And that's what we want to do, is we want to make sure that everybody can try to get to this region. So if you are planning a trip and you say you're visiting Tokyo or Kyoto and you have some time, please